My name is Kenneth Montague. I'm a dentist and an art collector based in Toronto. My love of photography began at an early age. I was lucky enough to have parents who loved art and brought their children to art shows from age 10 in my case. I saw a wonderful photograph by the celebrated Harlem Renascence photographer James VanDerZee at the Detroit Institute of Arts, right across the river from Windsor, my hometown. And here's a reproduction of the work. The print in my collection is currently on view at the Art Gallery of Ontario. But you'll see in this beautiful reproduction the love that VanDerZee clearly had for his own community. I think that this image, which is one of the 100 photographs most influential of all time, according to Time magazine, has resonated with so many people because it's about empowerment, and it's about beauty, and it's about showing people at their best. And those tropes became a big part of my journey. So that photograph was highly influential for me as a collector. It was a representation of all the things that I wanted to say to the world about who I wanted to be, who I imagined myself to be, to become. So that journey took me around the world as a collector, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the other works in my collection now. Behind me is a beautiful photograph from the 1950s by Cato, who was born and grew up in Mali, which was the French Sudan when he was growing up. These images from the turn of the century reflect a certain hope and excitement around the move from colonial days to a nation of Africans self-governing and in control of their own image. And so these two women, so beautifully dressed, are kind of showing themselves as sophisticated urbanites. And Seydou Keita's train station-based studio was really a place where people could be and become what they wanted. And I think that this kind of mixing of Western and traditional culture is something that is captured in this photograph so beautifully. It's one of my favorites. And moving over to this image, we see a young man in Birmingham by Lee Burke, who is a Jamaican-born photographer who grew up in Birmingham in the UK. When he was age 19, he took this absolutely celebrated photograph of this young man, Wilfred, in Handsworth Park. You have to understand the context here. There were political rallies and riots happening. The black community in England was up in arms about the way they were being treated. And here's this young man staking his claim, saying, "This is who I am," attaching this Union Jack, this British flag, to his bicycle and fearlessly riding through the park. There's so many things about this image that I love and that make me proud of this young man, and also act as a kind of a reflection. This is maybe the kid that I wanted to be, or certainly reminds me of the pride that I had as a 10-year-old. So these ideas that we see in the work are all powerful personal reminders of my own life, and I think that that's the important thing for me as a collector. Thank you.